We continue to monitor this story where activists are gathering in the mother city as well as in Knysna to protest against oil giant Shell's plan to conduct the seismic survey. And they say not only will the seismic blasting destroy precious biodiversity ecosystems, but the livelihoods of local communities as well. Vanessa Poonah is monitoring this story for us. Vanessa, how so with regards to affecting the livelihoods of people?
Blaine, yes. We actually moved from the V&A waterfront just now when we crossed earlier to Muizenberg Beach along the Falls Bay coastline here. Let me give you a bit of information on Muizenberg Beach, especially here at Surfers Corner. It's one of the most iconic surfing spots in Cape Town, certainly a tourist destination, and of course quite a number of community members as well as environmental activists have come out here today in a unanimous no to Shell's seismic survey. Let me speak to one of those activists. Her name is Elaine Mills. She is a Greenpeace volunteer, a volunteer from the Greenpeace organisation group in Cape Town. Elaine, good morning to you. The message is loud and clear here today, as it is across a number of coastal towns and cities in Cape Town, around South Africa at the moment. Given obviously what we've seen happening at the Makanda High Court on Friday, the urgent court bid not being granted to environmental groups now. Let me just start. Our presenters actually asked me in terms of the impact on communities, in terms of the impact on coastal communities, what exactly does the exploration mean to communities and to people, the general public coming out living along the coast of South Africa?
It will have a devastating impact on those coastal communities. Most of them rely for their livelihoods on small-scale fishing and tourism. They were not properly consulted about this survey, which is the grounds, which is why we are arguing that Shell's action is illegal. The seismic survey alone will be devastating for marine life because it kills plankton, which is the foundation of the marine food chain. It is also hugely damaging to marine mammals who rely on sound for navigation, feeding and breeding. It can cause long-term hearing loss, organ rupture and strandings. So it's obvious that it will be have a very damaging impact on the fishing community. There's 78 Eastern Cape small-scale fishers who were granted 15-year rights not so long ago by Environment Minister Barbara Creasy. Those rights will be useless if there is no fish in the sea to catch.
Elaine, we understand that another court application will be brought in the next week or so. Can you explain to us what will happen around that application and what exactly you'll be asking for this time and your hopes of possible success given the fact that the urgent application on Friday was turned down?
So another group of coastal fishing communities have launched the second application for also urgent interdict. This will be led by Richard Spoor, who's well known for his successes in the past representing communities and mining groups. The second application will focus on the fact that there was inadequate public consultation for the renewal of this right. This right was granted in 2014. It has since been renewed twice. The second time that it was renewed, which is fairly recently, there was no proper consultation. So the people that will be affected most, which is the coastal and fishing communities, were not consulted.
Elaine, earlier on, let me just interrupt you. While you were addressing quite a sizable crowd of people here, you were talking about government and the role it should play. Let me ask you that question now. You, as environmental groups, feel that government has a role to play. What would that be?
Absolutely, the government has the responsibility because it granted Shell the right to undertake this survey. The main minister is Minister Gwede Mantashe, who is responsible. He was not the one who originally approved the right, but he is certainly the one who is responsible now. Also, Minister Barbara Creasy has a responsibility because as the Environment Minister, she has the power to issue a protection order, or I'm not entirely sure what the legal process would be, but she certainly has the power to put a stop to this. The South African government has committed itself to a just energy transition. If it's truly committed to that transition and it wants to create sustainable livelihoods, it should move away from fossil fuels and move towards renewables. And another very important point that people should take note of is that unfortunately the ANC government is actually financially invested in this exploration because its investment arm, the Batu Trust, owns a 50% stake in Tebe Investments, which holds a 30% stake in Shell South Africa downstream. So they stand to benefit from this exploration financially.
Elaine, going forward from today, in terms of protests that we've seen happening, what are the plans up until the next court matter?
Up until the next?
Until the next court application.
Court case. We will continue. This is a rolling action. We know this is going to be a long fight. We're in it for the long haul. We will continue similar protests. We call on consumers to boycott Shell. We will not stop. We know that we will be successful. Public opposition managed to stop fracking in the Karoo. We will do the same for the Wild Coast and the rest of South Africa's marine heritage. Our message to the South African government is that our oceans are not to be sold. They are the heritage of our youth.
Elaine Mills, thank you very much for speaking to me. Of course, Elaine Mills there from the Greenpeace Volunteers Group here in Cape Town, speaking to us from Muizenberg Beach, where quite a number of organizations as well as surfers, members of the public have come together in a unanimous voice against the Shell seismic survey.
All right, Vanessa Poonah live for us there in Muizenberg. Thank you very much indeed for your report.